All right, wait. Are we live? Here we go. Okay, here we
Yeah.
go.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
All right.
That's
Audience
awesome.
says- we saw that. I don't expect anything else. It's me and technology don't mesh well, but that's not the topic tonight. We all know that much. We have Daryl from Midwest Night Watchers kind of guest hosting tonight, right?
Yeah.
And Miss Heidi Popp, welcome in.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Hi,
absolutely.
Carol.
Hi. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Welcome in, everybody. We have, of course, Elena. Hello. Chiro. Hello. Mark D. Welcome in. Moon at Noon was here. There you are. Angel, what's happening? Prospecting USA, what's going on? Welcome in, guys. As you guys roll in, if we're in the middle of something, I'll highlight you, give you a little salute, or whatever,
Awesome.
depending who it is. Just kidding. So, welcome in. How are you?
Fantastic.
All right, so
Yeah.
let's get a little background on you, I guess, because I'm kind of a little underprepared myself here, but
You're so sweet.
yeah,
I
it's
don't
just
care.
the way we-
Yeah,
it's just the way we
Carol.
roll around here.
Yeah, I'm super grateful, First time talker, long time fan. Mr. Garrel, thank you for introing us too and bringing us on. Garrel moderates my channel. So
Oh,
I
cool.
have a little YouTube channel that I started 2020. I just started doing little vlogs and things and care shares and like Heidi's Opium, like just sharing my 2 cents on stuff. And then I started interviewing people. And then I took a little break. I was co-hosting a show, Raising Starseeds, and then I came back and I started a couple different series all at once. And then I just started the Synaptic Circle, and Carol and the lovely Jane moderate my channel for me, and yeah, all the sweet stuff. But I myself am a childhood experiencer. I have some little
Oh,
Bigfoot
nice.
stories. I have, stories of elementals and like things I've seen and witnessed both as a kid, a teen, and an adult. I also spent a good chunk of time in motion picture industry, so I saw a lot of those cloaked beans. and I honestly, I now the last just 2 years I went back into teaching. I work with children, and I call it like a New Earth education system. I'm doing like the new woo woo with the kids. It's about, activating their star knowledge and normalizing the paranormal and all
That's
that good juicy stuff. So I kind of looped all my stuff together, and now I'm focused on kids. So that's like
so
the mini version.
that's so cool.
Yeah, I have a
Wow.
good time.
And
Yeah, I have.
all right, so is this like a public school district? Like,
No,
no, okay.
it's pretty much like a small business. They're not tied to anything state. We get a lot of homeschoolers. It's a homeschool enrichment center. So we get some homeschoolers that come, 2 to 3 days a week. We get some charter students, kids that go to a charter, like online or in person, then come to us for like the enrichment program. And then we have kids that are there 3 to 5 days a week that consider that their main school. But because we don't have to, do state testings and, there's no like real like you fail or you get an A or you get a C. There's none of that stuff. It's like, are you being a good human? Are you learning the lessons of humanity? Are you able to go in society and assist humanity? That's how I see it. And that's what we're doing. We're just getting these kids, really empowering the kids with their own gifts and knowledge. So I help guide guide them. I'm like a guardian, I guess, I'm a guardian and a mentor more than a teacher.
Well, it's
You know?
really, I mean, it's really interesting. Like, I have 3 kids and they're all young, like
Mm-hmm.
8, 3, and 2, and like both my boys are autistic, and like they're all over the place, like
Mm-hmm.
all over the place. Like it's tough. Like, I don't know how your classroom's outside.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
helps.
know how you keep them focused.
That helps, actually. They're grounded.
Yeah, that's true, right? I guess
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing that attracted me a lot, other than I found out about Heidi's Bigfoot and fairy and orbs experiences, but her with the kids, dealing with frequency and vibrations and the crystals and the grounding and helping these kids,
Mhm.
get in contact with where they're at and, to find out what they're good at and what they're doing. Cause just like the story of you and the little boy that likes to drum and get that beat going and that.
Yes. Bring up the beat. Yeah, he's our autistic, I quote, because there's no specific diagnosis. Their
Yeah.
family just chose us because we didn't label, but his light is coming on. We're finding what he is good at,
Yeah.
and he's starting to excel at that and find interest in other things.
Well, that's
You
the
know?
craziest thing about my oldest is like he has certain behavioral issues, I guess, is the biggest thing. It's not his academics, right? But like, yeah, I had the same issue. It wasn't like I couldn't. It's not that I can't learn things. It's like if it don't really like hit with me on all cylinders,
Yeah.
I'm just like, nah, like I can't
Yeah.
dial in. Like, I can't dial in properly enough to like make all the cylinders hit to learn it.
Yep.
But like, as far as astrology and stuff, like I knew nothing about like the solar system and the moon and nothing. Like, and this kid was teaching me at age 3, and I was like,
Oh, cool.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, there's a huge gamut. I mean, even that one boy, he could barely write, but he's really good with music. So they all there's a huge gamut. And I don't sit there and go, here's a math worksheet, let's memorize it. I'm like having them work with money. And like we're building. So then we have to measure and then we add and subtract. Like they have to physically do something to get the lesson. And plus, I went to university for it, like to teach, but I was never taught like Waldorf or Montessori or a new way of teaching. I was just taught how to fall in line for a state system and get the kids ready to test so they can make more money, that kind of stuff. This is like using my little skills. Like we do breath work, we stretch, we do writing and stuff, but everyone has to write the same way. I have cursive and then some print. Like it's just the range. What are they good at it and to excel? And that's the hard part. That's why I only have 14 kids. It's a lot of work. You're mentoring each kid individually, but it's possible, and all the other grades do it.
I guess once you find their strengths,
Yeah. That's the thing.
I'd imagine the beginning of the year stuff.
That was a weird one. Yeah, because I stepped into someone else's job. Like the lady left, so they're like, they offered me this position to step in. So I'm like, ta-da! And they're kind of like, what do you got? They really grilled me. And then they knew I'm just here to spread some light. Let's have some fun. I want this to be a good experience. I'm all about transparency and communicating, but I also really check them on. I started the lessons at the beginning of the year with frequency and energy, because I'll say if something is feeling off or if someone's having an off day, we transmute it. We figure out how to transmute it. Or like if something dark is going on in the world and some of the kids are privy to it, they'll bring it to the class, like a war or something. I'm like, okay, that's very overwhelming. We can't control that. But what can we do? We can control this and we can control this and we can put out as much love as possible. So it sounds super woo-woo, love and light, but it's all like shields and muscles too. It's not just, princessy. It's very like, come on, you can do it. Let's do this. We got this, teamwork. And it's really I'm cheerleading them into being their best selves. And the kids are excelling. They're growing in that sense. So I think it's just meeting them where they're at and building trust, and then having this transparent communication. And then they're excited to learn something. We do a lot of cooking too. Cooking, building, all the practical skills are good in 3rd grade. And then they have this feeling of accomplishment. So next year we get into a lot of mythology, though, like Norse mythology and, gods and goddesses and, war and fighting. Cause it's kind of cool. My son's in that grade.
Is cool. Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. He's in the class play right now. He's Loki, which is perfect. He's very much a Loki.
When I went to school, this is something I talk about often, is like when I went to school, it was like we didn't go really past, I don't remember going past like ancient Egypt and maybe a little bit of Greek mythology, or like I don't even remember if that was me or school, but I remember like they didn't really go past ancient Egypt, you know what I mean? And like as far as I grew up, like knowing that was as far as like, you know
That
what I
was in
mean? Like
history.
before that, we were just like, Darwinism, you know what I mean? Like that was
Wow.
it.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
maybe we came from the sea or something. Like but I used to like think
Wow.
about it, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
"What? I guess like we're just accepting this, And I remember like they said to us one day, like, yeah, you guys, we only use this percentage of our brains. And I was like, okay, well, how do we do the rest? Like, is this just we're just gonna say this and just go on and
We're
just
just
keep
gonna go by that.
we're just gonna breeze through, huh?
Yeah.
Like
They just do a drive-by on you and expect you to find the rest, I guess.
good to
Yeah.
see you, Jane. Thank you for being
Well,
here, Jane.
Well, what's a total trip is I'm super not. I mean, I was raised to just look at all religions like this is their jam. You do whatever. Go hippy
Mhm.
dippy mom. But when I did start, Rudolf Steiner is kind of doing the curriculum at this place that I'm teaching. It's not like a backyard homeschool. It's a business, but they do follow the ways of Rudolf Steiner, and I do like him and his philosophies. I don't totally align with all of like Waldorf schools, but here my point being at this particular age of children, they're 8, 9, 10, really. Everything younger is very land of fairy tales and the fables and, these moral lessons and these sweetness. And then by the time they get to this third grade, we did start the year with Let There Be Light, like the creation stories, which I didn't know anything about. They're giving me these verses and Bible verses and Jewish verses and all that. I go, I don't do religion. I don't know what to do. And they're like, it's not
Yeah.
about that. Look at dark versus light. I'm like, oh, I can do that. Like, that's my jam. And they're like, that's what you do. It's light versus dark versus light, bringing the light into the darkness, good versus, and that's what all the stories are. And she goes, and my mentor goes, this isn't a religious course. It's all literature, and they're
Right.
going to come across it, and they need to see the symbolism of dark versus light, which is going to carry on through the whole curriculum. So starting off with there's light, and then there was this separation, and then everything's a choice like
Yeah.
that. I was very much in line with,
Well,
so I could do it.
yeah, I was raised Catholic, and like
Uh-huh.
I had never like really explored anything else, And then when I went into the army, I went into boot camp, and I was hanging out, and don't get me wrong, like New York has all different walks of life and all different people, right? Like it's a huge melting pot. But I just never stepped into another church. And then I went into boot camp, and my my battle buddy, whatever the guy I was with, was Southern. Anyway, he was
Pentecostal.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, it was like, it was like singing and like all that stuff, and like very Baptist, maybe, I think it was. Anyway, I decided to kind of go into different masses with different people, so I started to like go into the different ones, and it was interesting. It was really interesting.
Yeah,
And then I
it's
started like
fascinating.
sitting with different chaplain and different things, and like just kind of like soaking in these different things. And I was like, anyway, it's good that you guys do that, and you don't teach it necessarily like on a religion basis. It's just like,
Right.
viewed
Right.
as like, here's some stories from,
Yeah. There's
this
this way, and I do a lot of Native American because I want to talk about the land that we're on since we're outside. So I'm like, let's relate it to the generations before us. But everything really is about source, and that positive vibration, negative vibration, and that can be related into everything. And so even when we get to like mathematics or something, if it's a struggle or it feels weird, we transmute the energy and change it. We move our bodies, we do something to change it so that they can, hi Chastity, so they can soak it in. So but yeah, I really went like I don't know what to do with this stuff. And then they made it so simple, the concept. They're like, don't get lost in the word verbiage and stuff. For children, they like storytelling. It's storytelling for them, and I'm a good storyteller. But for me, I really resonate with teaching these children that we're creator beings. We're all co-creators together. There is a dark light, and it's there, and it's in multi dimensions, and you need to protect yourself, but you also can shift it, and
All right,
you are the shift.
let
So
me ask
that's
you a
the
question.
nutshell. Yes.
You had a lot of out of the box, let's say, experiences, right, as a child.
Yeah.
Do you think that possibly like led to you like being built for this, or led to you being here, or maybe it was just part of like some grand plan? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do
I
know
don't
what you
know
mean.
your views on it, but I mean, I'm sure it really helped you kind of,
Yeah.
you know what I
Step
mean?
into mission. I stepped into mission. To be honest, it's only very recently that I was like, oh, that universe is so funny. That I'm like, I see it now. I see why I went through all the things I went through. I see all that stuff. Plus, I had a mother who did not poo poo anything. She was very much like, yes, you probably saw a Bigfoot. That's pretty cool. You must have that vibration for him. Like, so it was normal for me. So I'm like, why can't I do that for others? And now I get to do that. So I totally see the full circle. And honestly, I would do it all over again, even the dark, scary times, even, loss of time. Like, I don't know about that one, but I do think I'm stepping into mission, and all of a sudden things are aligning. And that's why I talk. I share, free little podcasts. I do this kind of stuff, but I also share my human experience. I talk to other people just in all these different disclosure communities, and I
Sure.
just like talking.
Well,
Basically.
you do a lot of listening too. I know you do, because
I do.
you're
I
in the
do.
ring. You're in the ring with some talkers. So
Yeah,
that's I
yeah.
mean,
And I'm a mom.
yeah.
So I listen in weird ways. Like,
I liked how you took your experiences and let's just say the woo factor or your vibrations, frequencies, that level that you're on. And then now you have kids that have open imaginations and their abilities haven't been squashed down yet. And just
Right.
like your story about I think it was two little girls that came up and says, "Is this a fairy school?"
Oh, yeah, they still do. Yeah. I have two little girls that they just look at me like waiting for my wings to pop out or something. And they're so like just tiptoe around me, like, wow, this is so magical. And I'm like, they can feel it. I've been told so many times I'm flower fairy energy. I have that connection. I get that. I'll take it. That's lovely. And I do resonate the most with that.
I lived
So
in
I'm like,
Yeah,
mhm,
I lived in Woodstock for a year, and
uh-huh.
it's a whole nother world. Like, let's just put it that way, right?
It's another
Even to this day, it's a whole nother world. I've never really even talked about like my. I don't think I've ever talked about it on the channel. My experiences, like just living there in general. I
Mhm,
bring everyone in the
mhm,
woods, but like my home
mhm,
life was my home life, right? But
mhm.
let's just say I went into town, and the first place I went in like was like a crystal shop or whatever it was. And anyway, this woman identified herself as a fairy, like as as a fairy. And I don't remember if it was a flower fairy or whatever it was, but there was
Uh-huh.
some kind of like, and she just like casually just said it, like, and it was just like, huh. And it was like it was my like, I guess like punch in the gut introduction to the world of Woodstock. And it's really interesting because like I had come from Long Island where like Bigfoot is not necessarily like part of the culture. Everything
Right.
is Native American or haunted, right? So it's like a Native
Okay.
American spirit. That's just the way the folklore is here, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you can find cryptids throughout those stories. You just have to kind of pick through it and figure out what the hell's going on, because every place is a product of their environment, right?
Right.
Like that's just the way the stories come up in different areas. So I had to learn how to cipher through like native spirits or hauntings, right? Like, and like a lot of it wasn't right. It just wasn't. I'm like, all right, well, that scream probably wasn't, some haunting like in the middle of that woods. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
but anyway,
Mhm.
so
Mhm. Hi, Terry. Oh, yeah. With the wood stuff, I was in Pacific Northwest at that time when those kind of experiences were happening. I was up there in Portland, and we lived all over. I'm from Chicago mostly. I'm mostly Chicago girl, but Texas, Chicago, Illinois, Wisconsin, but Portland's where I had that fairy and Bigfoot experience. And the fairy thing continued and the Bigfoot thing continued, different parts of the country. But I really feel like they're, to be called that flower fairy thing. I was told that in readings, things like when you do, I'm like, okay. And whether it resonated or not, it just started to click lately because yeah, that makes sense. I have a flower or like some green thing growing wherever I look. And
I see.
everywhere, even when I lived in the city. Oh, thanks, Jane.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
My- Sorry, my
That's
phone
awesome.
decided to cut on.
That's all good. Hi, Terry. Yeah. So there you go. So whether I'm flower fairy-ish or not, or Arcturian, whatever multidimensional label gets put on, I've practiced soberly too, transmuting and feeling that source energy and being able to put it to practice. So, and I watch children now do that. I told this story too on yours, Carol, that in the playground once there was a little girl that was watching her enemy across from the field, and she was like powering up and she looked pissed. And I'm like, oh God, what's this little girl gonna do? And this kid's running on the other side, and all of a sudden she just threw all her energy forward, and across the field, this kid fell, like tripped over themselves.
Wow.
So I'm just like, I'm exactly where I need to be. Now, whether these parents and these kids know all of this, beautiful star knowledge is coming online or getting activated, it's beside the point. They're getting a calling to be there and being under my care even. And I'm just guarding. Hi, Terry. Hey, Mr. B. So yeah, all those funny little things happen, And there's some that just don't subscribe to any of it. But to me, children are the highest frequency. They're innocent. They're the target on the plate. They're the number one commodity in the intergalactic slave system. I mean, they've got a target on their back before they're born.
Mhm.
And and then of course all the dark black op programs and things about that, the hybrids and breeding them themselves, all this stuff. I'm like, what can I do? When things got so overwhelmed, when I was diving into disclosure for so long, I realized what I can do is just utilize my gifts and protect the kids. It was always about the kids.
Yeah. Like there's so many things you can do to put that shield up, and like I don't think people. I don't know. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like I didn't know what to do at first. You know what I mean? Like I had no
Yeah.
idea. Like I had no idea. I was just like kind of like listening to what people would tell me about like doing this and doing that. And like the best thing I could tell you is when you go out there, like just at least if you're going out, like have something in your back pocket that's like recited. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah, exactly.
something that's like ready to go.
Yes.
Because when you get into that proverbial shit, like
Yes.
you're not going to be able to like necessarily like process things. You know what I mean?
Right. You're so right
Right.
there. That makes me think of. Oh, go ahead, Carol. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I think we're all in that position. A lot of people don't have nurturing parents as far as the woo side or the vibrations frequency. So you might come across it, but not know what it is and just kind of forget about it and move on. Where
Mhm.
your students are lucky enough to have somebody like you that can nurture that in them. And if they have special gifts or if they start feeling the energy, you're there to guide them and help them. Where we might not have had that as a child until we became older, then start getting interested in finding other channels and people that have that. And we start learning, but you're helping
Mhm.
people nurture them and bring that out right from the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm
So it's actually-
trying. I'm
No,
trying. I'm
you're
trying with my
doing it.
kids too. Yeah,
You-
with my yeah. Thank you. And with the kiddos too. I'm my own kiddos. I'm constantly
Yeah.
trying to do that with them. It's a really cute chat. I wanted to say hi to the people in the chat. I see you there. As fast as it's going. I got my new contacts in, so I can see a little bit better now.
Yeah, we've had quite a few. I mean, a lot of them are our friends, of course, Elena, and we have Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot and Moon at Noon and Mr. B. Obviously, we're on his show quite a bit.
Yes.
Roger Blair,
Aw, that's so awesome.
Vinzato.
Rewriters. Yeah, how was your Eclipse experience today, guys? So that I mean, you hear one dooms. There's so many different theories and timelines that went on today. I'm like, we went out. It was almost like vacation with Chevy Chase. It's like, okay, we saw it. Let's go. We were done. It's like it's gonna happen again.
Yeah. See,
It is what you make of it, I guess.
Yeah, my son didn't want to stay at school. He wanted me to take him out, and so we went to the beach. Luckily, we got there when we got there because we kind of got to put our stamp on our spot. But we went down to a beach, and I thought it was going to be quiet and private. But by the time that like peak time, it was like supposed to pass over around 3:30, and we got there at like 2:30. So the totality or whatever was going to be around 3:30,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a lot of people there, and it was cool,
Okay.
whatever. Like luckily there was a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah. Yeah,
Keep me
we
busy.
just had the little croissant. We had a croissant
That's all it
viewing
was.
with our
Yeah, I mean,
library
yeah.
glasses.
I mean, that's all
We
it is.
were maybe 94%. So we always had a crescent, a little crescent, no matter which way it went across. And on our outdoor cameras, you could tell it was getting dimmer and less, but we never saw the shadow of the moon on it. But
Oh,
if we went outside with our glasses, we could see it clear.
That,
So I
that's
don't
how it was here
somehow it
too.
just didn't pick it up.
That's how it was here too. It looked just like a really bright sun until you put those glasses on, and then you could see it. It was like orange. It almost looked really small too, like almost like you were looking at an orb. And then like as we were watching it, we watched like the more of it start to disappear, but it only got to about 90% here too. Like I think the totality line was like up in the mountains, like up north a little bit from here.
yeah. I think that was it. That big old mess. I saw Elena's comment when you said about your kids. See, my son too. He was seeing shadow figures and seeing scary things when he was little, so he had to really up his protection. I saw her go by with that. Oh yeah, shadow people, orbs, among other things. Yep.
I get
It passes down, I guess.
I get bad with chat. I think I'm on top of things, but I'm not ever.
It's all good. It's a lot of moving parts, isn't it?
Let's go ahead and get into your childhood and stories and go from there, Heidi. Since I mean, you've had Bigfoot and orbs and fairies and all that stuff. So let's start and see.
Let's
hear
share
about
some
your
things.
experiences.
Let's dive in.
yeah.
Somebody said
Let's polish
earlier.
my.
Somebody said earlier. I hope there's a video. No, we don't. I don't know if you have footage, but we don't have it here tonight.
Okay. I don't. It's because I was so little with some of the
That's
stuff I'm
cool.
talking about.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's the other thing, people can take what they want to take from it. This is my human experience. This is my stories, and this is my stuff, and whether it resonates with people or not, I mean, it's up to them. But yeah, the long short of it, I guess. So after I was born, then moved, and all the way ended in Pacific Northwest, and I think it was right after Mount St. Helens erupted. We saw that erupt. That was like 1980. So this was like 2 years after that, and we were on our way to Cannon Beach. Am I already having these experiences in our yard? By the way, we lived hillside on Portland, and little pixelated balls all over the place that I just thought everybody played with. So I'd talk to them, I'd create spaces for them. To me, those were fairies. Like that was this pixelated fairy energy. And I felt very protected. I felt like I always had company and I had a good time. So I was very already operating at this high frequency. I was a very not lonely. I was a quiet child. I did not like socializing. I cried if I got invited to places. I had a sister, so we played sometimes, but she'd also go off and play. And I was very content alone in the woods. But there was this one drive. We went out to Cannon Beach and we went kind of off the business route roads, not on the highways, and going a little slower, but there was an open brush area, and I still can see it, almost like that very, very popular footage of that clear brush with the one walking. It's very old footage. It reminds me similar of that because that's all that I could relate it to as a kid. But why we're driving, but this is walking the other way. And what made things happen for me in a crazy way was the way my body reacted. That's something I never felt before. Like I had this like goosebumpy euphoria, hair standing up. I felt like it was like a time lapse, like zoom in, like to the face. So I just felt this deadlock eyes, and I'm just like, kid, I'm just like, what? And just like in the window plastered, watching this, and I'm like, that was for me. I just felt this connection in the weirdest way.
Yeah.
I didn't. From what my mom's retelling, I didn't like go crazy in the car. It was just a very matter of fact because I was already having these pixelated, like multidimensional experiences. But to me, it was this giant thing. And I'm like, wow. And then talking to my parents, I'm like, I think I saw a Bigfoot. And my mom's telling me those are land guardians. They're very popular in the Pacific Northwest. And they're actually in other dimensions. So if you got to see one, you're pretty lucky. And it was just one of those like, and nothing I could really take to school with and share with anybody. I already knew that much too. I knew there wasn't really anyone to share this kind of stuff with. So that I cut to, I mean, I continued, that was my Bigfoot experience there. There's more that come up as an adult, but then we moved back to the Midwest. And in my early teens, I started having these awful experiences with shadow beings. Like this was in now Wisconsin, and we're right on the peninsula in Door County. And we were on the water, and I mean, I would have sleep paralysis and all this witness white lightning in my room, and the figures in my doorway, and crying out for help. No one can help me. And then my mom, though, at the same time, at the same house, was having loss of time. She's saw craft all the time. People in that whole peninsula. Hi, Dustin. I'm talking about Wisconsin. I see him there. Wisconsin. It's a hot spot. Wisconsin's a hot spot. And especially that Door County Peninsula. There he is, flying chariot to the rise. It was this was going on. I was not having a good time. I'm like, where's my fairies? Where's the magic? Where's the beauty? And I could see at the time too, my mom was a little more like this. She was just like, okay. And that's when she taught me, this is going to circle back to when we talked religion. We're not religious family, but my mom did say, she goes, when this is happening to you, you only have to talk from your mind. You don't have to verbalize. Cause I was like, I can't talk. And she goes, you say, I'm Christ's child. Say, I'm one with Christ. And she's just made me recite this thing in my head, being like, I'm not ready. Leave me alone. I'm Christ's child. This is not my experience. This is not for me, or whatever I say, but had to say Christ's child. And I'm like, okay. And so I could get through these nights, but it happened on and off for a couple of summers there. Yeah. It was pretty trippy.
It's kind of like what I was saying, like have something like ready to go, like whether it's like a little mantra like that, like whatever it is, like
that's what I thought of. Yeah. And I said what I told my kids. And then when I had this terrorizing plane trip like 3 years ago, it was kind of going, I mean, it was bad. There's people throwing up, and my giant was even like really scared. And I just started saying, I started reciting like Hail Mary, like things that I didn't even know I knew. And I'm just reciting stuff. So back pocket stuff is really good. After that teen stuff, we were at this Wisconsin home, but I also lived outside Chicago, and I did have a beautiful experience there. I was about 15-ish. And I found myself woken up in the middle of the night, like this far from the floor, like looking at the floor, and then slowly being put back in my bed. But my whole room was like a beautiful blue and white light. And it all came from like a little orb area. So it felt very angelic. It felt like a person, like it came from a form, not just a light in the room, but like a physical form. And I remember this feeling of peace, like, thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thank you. I'm good. I'm great. Goodbye. I'm going back to sleep now. It was a peaceful thing, whereas all those Wisconsin things were pretty terrorizing. And so after that kind of stuff, I, went to DePaul in the city. I lived in the city. I was club kid. I did nothing happened. I was inebriated all the time. And then I moved to California in 2000. And it wasn't until, then I was kind of working then with energy, like working on set. I'm reading all the dark stuff. I know the reptilian energies. I know all those kinds. So I'm playing with that kind of stuff on set and still protecting myself, but not having the experiences, out in the woods or anything. And when I do need to recharge, I would take myself like to the ocean side or go somewhere and just feel myself recalibrate. And then I could go out and do it some more. But it wasn't until I had my kids, and which 2013 was my first, that I really started to dive into. I could feel the energies change, like it coming at me a little bit. And I started to try to protect them a little more. But I'll jump to more encounters, because 2020, I went to East Ranch in the Pacific Northwest. And I'm like, I haven't been back since a child. I wonder if I can tap in or what's going on, or I don't know. And a friend who was volunteering there, I told her some of my childhood stories. And then we were leaving Skywatch, and I was just going to beeline to my little house right there. And she goes, no, take that way. You should go that way, Heidi. And I'm like, I think I know what you're going to make me do, but okay, I think I'm ready. And there's supposedly some Sasquatch on that property named Junior and a couple other names. Oh. And I wound up taking the long way to my cabin, and I rounded a corner, and I shit you not, there was this huge presence that you could just feel was there, like it was alive, and I could see trees. So nothing was physically there that I could see, but the presence was there, if that makes sense. Almost like a heat wave presence, but it was night. but the stars are bright. I'm just like, something's here. And it was really big. And I freaked the F out. And I go, wait, I'm not ready. I'm so sorry. I'm not ready. And I ran to my cabin. And then I was like, that was it. And all night I heard these whoop, whoop, whoop. Like I heard sounds. And I told the campers the next day what I was hearing. And they're like, oh, I think I heard a cow. You might have heard a cow. I go, no, it sounded like whoop, 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 like 5 points of the night. They're like, we never heard anything. So I was like, that's for me. And then, and then the other Sasquatch experience, Bigfoot experience, was Grafton, Illinois in 2022, which is right on the river there, Mississippi River. And I was there for the first Journey to Truth conference. And we, my dearest best friend here, Tanya, and I we met Abby, who I was co-hosting Raising Starseeds with. And the three of us wound up gridding the place. We got there a day early and stayed a day late to like put some protection in and like just feel it out. Like what's going on.
Yeah.
And we had an intruder, I call it, like a muggle, come and start this conversation with us when we're about to like go into the woods and start hugging trees and shit. And I'm like, I took one for the team. I'm like, I'll go keep her busy because this is going to change the frequency. We're not going to make contact. And so I did. And I granted that to my friend Tanya, and they left into the woods and they came back like, holy shit, it's a family, and they're like, there's a whole my friend she's 60 something. She doesn't fake that stuff. She calls it out. And she's like, no, we heard, we felt, we saw. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're all over the place here. And then that same place later that week, I went into my cabin after asking for another experience. I'm like, I'm an adult. Prove me that this isn't wrong. Prove that I had these, show me something, because I'm not in denial, but I would really love some proof just for myself. So I walk in my cabinet and there were these pixelated orbs all over the place. And I felt that I had the hair go on my, all that connection happened that I was getting before. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is for me. And I was like tearing, but sassy still. So I'm like, but I'm going to take a bath, so you better not look, whatever I said. And they all went whoosh, right out the window. And I was like, damn it. But it was enough for me to go, that's it. I'm putting all my chips in. This shit's happening. Boom. Like multidimensional things are there and they're interacting with us. So
that's the thing, you can go along your whole life and just be closed-minded and not be open to anything, even though you might experience something like you might see a little shadow or something, and you just kind of wave it off and keep on going. But the fact that you said, okay, I'm ready, show me something, you start opening yourself and like, bring yourself open and wide to experience this stuff. And that's basically what you're doing with your kids when you're teaching them at school too. You're having them open their minds, so if they experience something, they can receive it, and then you can help guide them with what it is. And okay, let's look into this, and
it sets them up for success too. Like, because
it does intuition.
They're not shut down. You know what I mean? Like, they're not just looking at things like the scripted way. Majority of us are pushed out into that world. This is why it takes people so long if they ever do snap out of it. And I don't hold it against anybody. I don't, because I get it. Like, I get how hard it is to shake yourself loose from that. And God, it sucks. Like, I honestly just feel bad. I'm like that, it sucks to be in that straitjacket of society that, like, binds your mind from opening and keeps your heart from opening and everything, all your chakras, everything.
Yeah. And they're doubling down too. They're making it harder. They're coming for us with the EMF, like everything. So we have extra work to do. And I have to preface, and for anyone watching or listening in the chat too, the thing I do with the kids, especially mine and any of them that I come across, is the main lesson. I don't have to teach them that these things exist, but the main lesson is I teach them, how does it make you feel? So like then I get that euphoria, and like I made contact with a ship here in my backyard in the San Fernando Valley, people, like that doesn't happen. But I knew it was because I wasn't on Jack, and I felt the same euphoria I had when I had the contact with the Sasquatch, when I had contact with, it was that vibrational connection that was like, oh, okay, this, you can't fake that. And this isn't in my brain. This is an energy exchange. So with these kids, I tell them, is this making you feel good? Like, are you like, I'm kind of excited here, I feel good, I feel safe? Or are you feeling threatened? Like, is fright or flight coming on? And that's when we take the next step. But that's really the basics you teach them. Is it a good witch or a bad witch? Basically.
Right.
Mhm.
you know, there's even times where like, you know, people look to me a lot, like I'll go out with people, or people want to go out with me a lot and stuff. And sometimes I want to go out with other people because they don't realize, you know, like a lot of people don't realize how like gifted they are, right? Or how like beaming with energy they are, or like
Uh-huh.
they just might not know, or they might not have that confidence yet, or whatever the case may be. I don't, you know, whatever. Like for me, I was held down by trauma, right?
Mhm.
Like I think that really dumbed me down a lot, but it also allowed me to kind of start over again. So while I kind of took the long way around, like I'm just happy I got where I got when I got there, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And trauma, that's not uncommon to hear. Like, I mean, I've had accounts of trauma myself. Some are like, "Did you have those experiences as a child because your parents were fighting?" And I'm like, I don't know because I didn't have frame of reference to where that would have come from, you know. And the fact that it came full circle as an adult, I go, I can't dismiss it. That happened. So yeah,
Well,
energy
the
does not
interesting
lie.
thing is, though, like in all this cryptid, whether it's, you know, paranormal, once somebody goes down that, opens that door and goes down that trail or down that rabbit hole, say you're a Bigfoot guy, like we've all experienced or had stories of Bigfoot, you're not really open necessarily yet to the UFOs or the orbs or the paranormal. And you have that in each field that you're open minded to whatever you're experiencing at the time, but there's this whole vast thing that's all connected with each other.
Right.
And then once they finally open up that other door and start realizing, oh my gosh, there's more,
It's if
there's
they do,
UFOs,
right?
there's orbs, there's fairies, there's
I say
Cryptids.
it all. Yeah, I say it all the
I
time.
mean,
If I would have stopped when I had my first Sasquatch encounter, I probably would. If I'd stopped that day, like I would have, I'd be in like a flesh and blood camp, I guess, right? Because like that's all I would have known. You know, like
mhm.
it didn't. There was nothing really super weird about it. Like you know, like just this
it's
giant.
like experiencing an animal for the first time, seeing your big
Yeah,
first moose or a bear.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then you would have
Yeah.
just thought it was just blood and flesh, and you wouldn't have known there was a dimensional side or a.
Well, like what Elena's saying here, I wasn't gonna bring it up, but since she did, like I didn't want to bring it up. You know, I don't like talking for anybody else, but we were up in the mountains and we had heard this like you know I was outside, I heard this screaming, so I call her out and like so she's listening in and like it's you know this male Sasquatch just plain as day like just yelling like you know guttural yelling and like kicking off all these coyotes and like I go to bed and I thought she did too, but I wake up in the middle of the night at one point and I'm like, where is she? I'm like walking around the cabin. I'm like, you know, looking everywhere. I'm like, where the hell is she? And she's like under the curtains, like at the back window, like just looking out there. And I don't think she knew she was how long she was there. But anyway,
Wow.
she tells me what she's looking at, and she's like, oh, I'm looking at eye shine. So I start to like do the math. I'm like, there's no eye, that's not eye shine. It's pitch black out there. That's like, you know, 50 yards out. Like this, even if the backlight was on, it only reaches like 10 yards. Like that wasn't shine, it was glow. And like she, you know, whatever she was locked eyes with, it was making her feel like this overwhelming, like feeling of like happiness and like
Wow.
glee and like, you know, just like you were saying when you opened the thing with the orbs is what made her
Yeah.
say that, like, I think is what made her
Yeah.
start saying that too.
That was it. And like when I saw spotted the craft over my backyard, I had that euphoria. And I was clean and sober and I'm watching it going, okay, this was for me. Thank you. You know, I thank it and thank you for this experience.
Mhm.
And with the when I spotted that one ship above me, though, it's when I went to look at my phone to get a picture, or whatever. That's when I went back to my 3D real quick, and I was like, "Dang it!" And it was gone. And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you're supposed to just take that moment." It was more validation. So I kept getting these validated signs. Once I became awake to it all again, and then became a mom, and I'm looking through the world through their eyes, I started getting validation a lot quicker and more often.
Right.
And then I'm like, I can't not talk about this now. You know, I don't
Yeah,
care.
I think you have to realize, you know, how's your body reacting to this? Once you
Right.
start learning, you know, the signs or whatever, you know, I feel that chill, I feel that goosebump, I feel that energy vibrating through me. Then you start having these personal experiences like you did when you were a child, seeing the Bigfoot going in front of the family. But correct me if I'm wrong. I think you mentioned in our show that your parents did not see it. It was only you.
No
So it
one
was
else
for
saw
good
it.
for you.
Yep. No one else saw it. So it could easily be that, but they validated once I shared. So that was another big thing. I could have been any other kid that could have been like, oh, you're seeing things. And then it would have shot down. And my whole interest and intrigue and curiosity would have shot down. Then I probably would have, all the little pixies and the orbs I'd see in my backyard, I probably would have justified then as something or tried to share that with them. Well, what about those things? And they would have shot me down. And then I would have
Right.
left that world. So I'd all lined up for a reason. And I do think it leads up to even these current days because the veil is so thin that I think these experiences are happening more and more because sure enough, all the weapons of mass destruction are all like just getting everybody left and right, food, water, everything's, and if we can't get that vibration right, we're going to miss this opportunity to see this, then have these experiences and just be like, okay, there's something bigger here. Let's not go so crazy about this 3D dooms and gloom thing. We can traverse this. There's more than just us.
Yep.
And again, does it make you feel good or does it make you feel bad? That's who you align with or what you align with.
Yeah.
I think once you open your mind and you're just open and loving and to accept all this stuff, I think that's when you, like we said, it's all connected. I think that's when everything just starts going, oh, look at this bright light.
Yes.
And they just start coming.
Yep. But I tell you what, that doesn't mean I'm loving light with hippie dip. I can cut a bitch. So if someone comes for my kids, I'm just like, you haven't seen two sides of shit shinola or whatever it's called.
I tell people that all the time. I'm like, I'm the most imperfect, cursing, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be this like a perfect like angel, like of a heart to go and you have it's
yeah,
you're
still human.
You can't teach it. Like you got it or you don't. You know what I mean? Like it's the way it is.
Right. Yep. There's some rabbit holes that I started to go down and then I stopped because there's something there. And that's like the SSP stuff or the Black Ops programs, all that kind of stuff. But then I realized
like humans dabble with that, right? Or like,
right. Well, I saw the lure and I saw even when the Agent Smiths were pulling me down it. And I'm like, I'm a guardian of children. Why would I open that box? Why would I open Pandora's box or open all that up to me right now? I think it was just another form of me being tested of, are you really here to protect them or not? Because there's some things that I just don't think I need to open up at this point about. Buried, I don't know, whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about.
That's another big thing. Even though you're open-minded and you're raising your vibration to receive these things, you still have to have discernment to know, okay, this is good and this is evil. Going back to your light teachings to the children, you have to discern. And it's like, okay, I don't want to go down this because I can feel the dark presence. I can feel that energy.
Yeah. And that happened when I was studying most of the dark stuff. I was also drinking like a mad woman, but that's when all the crap was happening to my son. So I was literally letting it into our home, these energies and this, like, whatever the heck was happening. And I'm like, get it right, Popp. I had to really armor up. And I was able to shift it,
Yeah, sometimes it takes a little lesson, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It just does,
Yeah. Yep.
It just does.
Mm-hmm. And there's a big thing of, which I know it's hard not to do, especially when we're doing self-discovery and learning and researching and stuff. But even like the Eclipse today, I'm watching things online and I'm like, people still go outside themselves. They want something else to make them feel a certain way. And I'm like, when you are lined up and directly connecting with Source, you're going to feel those things. Just make sure your body's ready to receive. And, I don't know if anyone else is more powerful than anybody else, if that makes sense. If we just all get on the same page and trust each other's human experiences and all the stories that we have, we all gather them all together and be like, yep.
Yeah, well, I got you. I always say, like, people want to be the biggest and the best and the greatest or the GOAT, right? Or whatever. And like, I always say, like, I learned from the Sasquatch as far as how it goes, like, they're the biggest, baddest mofos, right, in the bush, but they walk around like teddy bears unless they have to, right? I'm not saying I know everything about everything, but as far as I can tell, they're harmless, right? That's been my experience. Take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
but they walk around like everything is equal, like a leaf, a tree, a deer, a Sasquatch, a human, a rock. It's all the same. Like it's all doing its purpose. It's all connected. It's all serving its duty to, the overall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're the
Right
only
there
ones
with you.
out here doing other weird.
Right.
We've
Yeah.
talked about this before. I know personally I've talked to both of you at one time, and I've heard you mention it, that when you're in a bad mood or you're putting out negative energy, do not go out researching or doing this, because what are you going to attract? You're going to attract the negativity back towards
Yep.
you. You have to be open and put that love and kindness out there to really have a nice experience. I mean, just look at Betty and Barney Hill when they had their experience. One of them wanted the positive, nice experience with the UFO or extraterrestrial, go around in the ship and see all this stuff. And the other one was fearful of what they're going to do to them. Well, guess what experience each other had? One had a bad and one had a good.
Yep. Yep. Oh my gosh, yes. And and even when you said that, when the bad experiences when I was a teen, you know what? I read that damn book Communion. So it changed it created an image for me of stuff. So it got really dark. And then there's my mom and dad. My dad would sit with his VHS camera and film for my mom the ships, but he'd be knocked out. They'd sit on her, and my mom sent these tapes to MUFON and stuff. She never got them back. And we didn't know about copying and then stuff. But he would sit with this big thing, like, okay, Nance, like, yeah. He let her have her thing, but he did not believe. But he also, he was knocked out with every time they came around, and then he'd come back and be like, "Do we record? What was happening?"
So yeah, like I said, if you feel yourself in a bad place, or you're just grumpy for whatever reason that day, you got to meditate or get yourself right in a place, whether it's listening to music or
That's no
whatever you do to get yourself into a even keel and being nice, then you'll be able to experience these things. But if you're in a bad mood or you're just angry for no reason whatsoever, then you're going to start experiencing the negativity on the same side.
Yeah.
I used to go out every day no matter what, and like I had to learn that the hard way, that like I shouldn't force it, you know what I mean? Like if I'm not vibing like in a proper fashion, I got no business out there, because I'm drawing in things like not knowingly, and I had to learn it the hard way. It still didn't register at first for me. Like I just thought I was unlucky, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't putting things together properly. And then I learned, well, shit, I'm like, not on purpose, but I'm wishing evil on myself in some fashion. I'm manifesting this in some fashion. But by putting out this not positive, and it doesn't have to be like hate necessarily. It doesn't have to be one end or the other, for things to creep in and use it against you. Like it's just
Exactly.
it could be this little thing for that entity to be like, oh shit, here we go. Like he don't have his boys with him today. Like you don't got that. Like
Yep. Everything's frequency. Everything's energy and vibration. It always goes back to that frequency, vibration. Yep. Another positive solutions. Oh,
I get kicked out of places. It's crazy how many rather hate on positive solutions.
I know.
And help them realize they're in a bed.
Isn't that crazy? It's like the Truman Show thing. When you just keep having a bad day, it gets worse. But if you're having a good one, some people are like, why aren't you having a bad day like me?
It's easy. Yeah. It's easy. Like it happens to me all the time. Like I don't realize it, but I'll get caught up in the rat race here in New York, and I don't realize it's happening. Like, babe, yep. Right? And I'm just like, I could get in it quick because I'm good at it. You know what I mean? Like I'm good at that shit. But I gotta like reel myself back in and be like, I gotta catch myself and be like, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean? I'm imperfect. I'm not sitting here saying I'm, God's gift to the world. Like I'm super imperfect, right? So shit, like whatever it is, what it is. Like it's not it's how you recover, right? Like you gotta reel yourself back in as quick as you can, and like everything's muscle memory. Like the more you start to revert from those things, like the better you get at doing it the other way,
Yes.
I
It's
thought I was,
quicker and quicker.
yeah,
Mhm.
I was like a hopeless case as far as I was concerned.
Aw.
I'm
You
telling
that yeah, that's perfect. You brought up something so important because that's why I love talking to so many people. I want to hear their journey, their experience, because no one is going to have a perfect tale. And if they do, or if they try to sell that to me online, like and pay for this course because you'll reach this perfectness too. It's like it's a sham because we're all having this experience here, and we're all going to get thrown back in the matrix once in a while. And
well, yeah,
some days you're gonna snap, and then you'll
yeah.
be like, oh, that was I don't, you break, like you said, how quick you recover is key.
Right. Yeah, because
Yeah.
everybody has ups and downs. It's all a wave
Yeah.
and it's a balance. You have good, you have bad. It's just
Unfortunately, the
trying to
world,
recognize it and seeing the way you're going, whether you're going up or you're going down. You try to
And why?
navigate
Yeah.
that even keel somehow. The quickest way you can get there.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
And why it happens.
Yeah,
Either people,
exactly.
I don't like people. I mean, I've been running into a lot of people who I notice don't take accountability lately, both in my regular human life and then online. But I'm just like, you just start recognizing patterns, and you can choose to have them interact with you or not. But then you can recognize it in yourself. Oh, I didn't like that in that person because they didn't hold themselves accountable. Oops, I'm not holding myself accountable for this. It's all lessons. It's all, it's all the school of life. This is the after school special now.
I mean, they can. I mean, even if we're talking like a Sasquatch or whatever, they can sense that off of us too.
Yes.
So if we go out on the trails or out in the forest and we're putting off this negative energy, I
Yeah.
can imagine myself being the Bigfoot and say, "Oh, I'm gonna throw rocks at this guy. I'm gonna
Well,
make noises to scare him away."
sure. Or think about it. Think about if you're out there looking for Sasquatch and you're out there putting out negative energy, if they're a positive being, right? Like maybe they can't protect you and something else comes in and just pretends to be them, right? Shapeshifter, or maybe even just something like how many times do you just hear people say it was a Sasquatch, but they didn't see shit, right? They
Right.
didn't see anything, but it was Bigfoot, right? Like you got me too if it makes you feel better.
That's the top.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I started watching you all and watching you guys too because sorry if he's too loud.
No, you're good.
I was told for so long and believed, had the mindset so long that whether it came from my mom or Gilliland or whatever, that if you see Sasquatch, that's like a teenager peeking in because they're playing. But then I'm hearing stories of others around the world even that have had these experiences where it's negative or it gets confronted, or then you get all the underground base kind of beings kind of come up, so it gets all mixed up. But I had to start studying actual researchers because I had these stories and I want to get a big picture. Some of us want to see all sides of the coin and everybody's perspective and experience, and then we shape our stuff. All I know is
Right.
those were the experiences I had, and then I know things could be so much bigger, things could have been so much worse, than things could happen again.
Yeah, I used to do that. Kerry Arnold, RIP, but I used to sit with him all the time, and he would pick my brain too, like because he'd be like, you're the one that's out there all the time, and we just kind of like pick each other's brain, and like inadvertently just kind of like just bouncing things off each other, and like here and there, and we would just watch each other and like each other's shows or whatever, and just like or each other doing things and just learn from that way. And he had a way of getting things out of people, like just by being there. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but he used to have a show called Bigfoot Odyssey, or a channel.
Okay.
And it's really, really good guy, like just all around. He was gone before his time, but anyway, he just would sit there and talk to people, and they would just like pour out everything, like, and a lot of healing, a lot of different things. And I just I just started to look at things from different angles, from just doing that, from hearing people pour out their emotion. And I like that more. Like, I like when the person's up there more than there's other shows I listen to, like Vicundiv, where like the person's, not visibly there, it's just audio. But others, I don't know. I don't like when like the story's being told by like a third party, if that makes sense.
Right.
But
Sure. Yeah, it totally
You know,
makes sense.
that's the
Yeah.
thing I like though, because I watch all these shows or podcasts, and and I listen. So I have an experience. Mine happened this way, but that doesn't mean everybody's experience happens the same way, whether it's a Bigfoot, paranormal, UFO. So I listen to all these guys, and all of a sudden something sticks out in their story. I said, you know what? I think I saw that, but I didn't recognize it or know what it was. So then I take that little nugget and put it into me so I can be alert to it, or add that to my whole picture. Like, okay, just because I have what I know and experience doesn't mean that's the only experience out there. There's more aspects, more avenues, more little levels to all this that I could be missing because I don't know what it is.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why I used to love, conferences and conventions and gatherings, because you'd meet so many different people. It's the people that you met there that you usually had these really grand experiences with. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I'm not crazy. All these people have this neat experience to tell. And that's why I love the beauty of this kind of stuff, because we can just share it selflessly across the planet and everyone
Sure,
finds each other.
sure.
So it's pretty cool.
I love meeting up with people in person too, and like just doing different things.
Hmm.
Like you said, the Journey to Truth conference, that's got to be a great place with like a nice like combination of people, like different,
Combination.
different
Yep.
walks of life, right? Like different.
Yeah.
That's like the key, is to be open to everything, right?
Right.
So here's a quick story, right? I went to Whitehall Festival. First time I've been anywhere, like any of these types of things. I've never really been to a conference before, festival, anything. I still really haven't. But anyway, it was this outdoor thing, and there's this psychic there, I guess is what you would call her. And she's sitting there, and she's got a few people on her list. So I never sat with a psychic before. So I'm like, whatever, no big deal, right? Like it's like 30 minutes, it's a decent price, it's quick, or maybe it was like 15 minutes or something. So I'm like, even if I don't like it, like I'm uncomfortable, I'll be in and out kind of. So I'm like, whatever, like I'm gonna be open about it. I want to do it. Like I came here to experience everyone and everything and give everybody a chance. And so as I'm walking around waiting for my turn, I have like an hour wait for like the 3 or 4 people. I keep seeing her look at me, and like she's sitting with other people, but she's looking past them to look for me. And like maybe I'm like bugging out here, right? But like I'm like, no, she's like physically like, seeking me out. So what I come to find out when I finally sit with her is like the spirits or whatever that she was communicating with were like closed off, and they were, I guess, waiting to give me a chance. And they finally opened up, and she said that what they told her was, look, everybody here suffers from being crapped on, right? They're all Bigfoot people, and they get crapped on everywhere they go for being different and being you're an outcast, and people, just,
Right.
barrage them with, meanness, right? And that's what everybody was doing to her. Like they were walking by and like passing
Oh,
judgment on her, and like,
wow.
mocking her, like, and I guess these spirits could sense it or hear it or whatever the case was.
Wow.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna act like I understand, but I guess she was basically like, they opened up because you were the only one that was like sitting here giving me like an open fair chance, and just like,
That's awesome.
yeah, I
And you
don't
were
know, like,
thinking that. Yeah,
yeah,
you were like,
yeah,
let's see what she's got, but whatever, I can be out of here soon. It's just
yeah.
like, wait, I love those stories.
Well, that was my initial thought, yeah, but I did decide, yeah, I said, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. Because when I
That's
sat
awesome.
down, she's like, well, what do you want us to focus on? And I was like, I don't care. Like, she's like, well, you don't want to like know anything or hear about. I'm like, no, I don't. Whatever happens, happens. Whatever pops up, I don't know.
So you're
I've never
ready to
done this
receive.
before. Yeah, you take the
Wow.
wheel.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. That's so cool.
They're
Oh,
they
that's
were probably
awesome. Well,
all
thanks,
around you
man.
right there going, hey, this guy, hey,
Yeah.
this guy.
I
Yes.
I guess, yeah. I guess she was just struggling up to that point to get anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. You know, that's another thing that you can't deny those experiences. If you've had like a reading or something, I have had too, with like to talk to those who crossed over. You cannot find out that stuff that came from that, you know, the things that they tell me. I was just, oh my God, I was just Tammy Faye with mascara everywhere. I was like a mess and snot coming. I had snot. I was like, are you serious? Because I really went in thinking, of course I will believe, but I also thought, well, I was ready to pick up on when they were faking it. And it was the exact opposite. And I was just like, but I was so welcome to it. And then I start running around going, you need a reading, you need a reading. And they're all like, no. And I'm like, oh my God, they don't want this experience. Okay. But I love having a really good old talk with the dead.
I do too. I never thought I would, but I do. I like it too.
It's so cool. It's so validating. And then you're like, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
High five.
Yeah, that's why I like to just like leave it up to the medium. I'm just like, who's here? You know, like I don't want to know anything. Just tell me what you know, you know?
Yep.
So whoever's here, just let me know what's going on. I don't care.
That's all fun. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, discernment you have to use, huh?
My own discernment, so many too negative. See through illusions as well as holding them back. Fear with negative thought, illusion, vibing at a higher frequency lessons. Wow. Yeah, that's very profound. A lot of the things you've been saying are. Thank you all. All of you have been contributing quite a bit over the course of the night, and I appreciate you. I've been highlighting you and saluting you and thanking you. I hope you've seen my gestures along the way. If you guys have any questions for Heidi, thank you, Jane, for highlighting her channel there again.
Yeah, that was sweet. Thanks, Jane.
Yes.
Yeah, I just got through one of the strikes. You know when you get a strike for something and they make you go through, have you had one and then you have to take the test? They gave me a medical test and it was basically propaganda, la 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 la. I'm like, yes, just to get kind of through it or whatever. But it's like, God bless YouTube. I mean, we try as we may, but that's a hard puppy there. One day you're here and the next they cut your stuff and then you're here. And I'm like, but I feel like determined. I'm like, I'm going to get it. I am over on Rumble too now, and at BitChute there's some vlogs, but I'm trying to keep Rumble up to date. But I still have fun.
It's gonna get weird because TikTok is going away now, so I think there's gonna be a lot of people like scattering all over the place. So who knows what's next up in line? But something will grow. You know, maybe it'll be Rumble.
Yeah. Maybe
well, for the U.S., TikTok is not going to, if they end up finalizing this, and I don't know if they have yet or not, but if they finalize it, then it is going to take it away where you can't update your TikTok. You'll still be able to watch TikTok online. You just won't be able to update your app or whatever if they take it away from the stores. But everywhere else in the world, TikTok's just going to keep on going.
It's going to keep TikToking.
Right.
I'm permanently banned, so I can't even. And no matter where I log in from, maybe if it's a new phone now, but every email I've ever had in my life, even my old Hotmail days, I'm like
Hotmail.
That's Murray's. Yeah. So good on you, TikTok people.
I tried. I mean, I tried, but it's just I'm a creature of habit. I just don't like to do anything. Like I don't like change. Like
same.
I started on Facebook and I did that for like a year, and then like there was such a high demand at the time on YouTube for what I was doing. So like everybody wanted me to come there, so I did. I ended up leaving. I was primarily on Facebook for a while, and then I was doing live streams in the field, and like I don't know, nobody was doing it at the time. You know, like nobody. Nobody would dare to do it. Like it was just unheard of. Like you're going bigfooting in the field. You're telling people in real time. You don't edit. Like like it's just unheard of. I was like,
you cornered the market.
Yeah, I fall down in the mud and my phone breaks, and I leave it there.
That's awesome. What we do with our live cams outside. You know, what you see is what you get. You tell us, what do you see? I mean, we might say we see an orb, or okay, that might be a bug, but you know, just like the other night, we got that skyfish that just went. So we slowed it down to kind of check it out, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's so unusual. And you know, okay, everybody tell us what you think it is.
Even last night, I was watching your channel, and like it was like I was just sitting there like for like probably 20 minutes, and it was just like just listening to Jane's little pan, and all of a sudden like and it was different. They were totally different than all the things I've been watching for the past 20 minutes. And I'm like, oh shit. Like I start dragging back, I go full screen. I'm like, I was like just recording everything. I'm like going back over and over and over. And I'm like, I'm like trying to write in the chat, but I'm like just demented, like trying to watch what I'm looking for. And it's hard on a live stream to go back to where you were, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
where was that little dot I just saw, Like,
yeah, I love that you have that, Carol. It's on right now, isn't it? Your camera.
Yep, it's on right now. We're watching
Yeah.
sunset, actually.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. I love the raw authenticity always. The burps, the drops, the camera drop. I mean, all the fun stuff.
I mean,
it's raw.
Yeah. It's not for everybody.
But authenticity is key. If you can't be authentic, then what the heck?
Well, some people just want the highlight reel, right? Like they don't have time for it. Like I get it. Like you want quantity over, whatever. Like they just want the cut to the chase. But then at the same time, if you look at the comments in those videos, right, where you have a Bigfoot highlight, what is every comment? This is crap. This is BS. This is made up. It's a guy in a suit. But there's no info. There's nothing. Nobody knows where it came from, who did it, where,
right.
What happened before that, what happened after that. Like all you have is this little tiny clip. So what good is that? And that's what I took from it. That's why I just, and so when I started doing videos, it was like, I just went from like live streaming. So I went over to like, just my video just ended up being like that. Like I was live streaming, walking and talking, and like, like I just kind of continued that style.
There you go. That's your thing.
Chicken goat cam. If you guys have any questions for Heidi, please shoot them out here because we are gonna. I don't know what time is it.
I'm gonna scroll. I see one from Tennessee Bigfoot.
Okay, let's go.
Your thoughts on bad ETs? Do you know any you don't like? I met some in Hollywood. Well, I think that goes back to us talking about energy and frequency, though. If we're not in, when I was in those scary moments and as a teen, and I had the shadow beings and grays and, that kind of perhaps abductions. And, we get into this really big package of my mom and I in the hybrid programs and crazy stuff. I do believe in the intergalactic trade slave system. I do think there's that crazy crap. I mean, I can't say for certain, again, is there programming or not, but I think that's the power we have, to not be able to have those dark, scary experiences, is remaining in this frequency of knowing, like the warrior Jedi shit. You got to be prepared at all times, but in like a kung fu way, like just you train to master yourself, but you're also not looking for it, but you also know how to detect it. So the actual darkness, like working in Hollywood, I mean, I've been around ones that could be demonic, probably partake in some of those rituals, and they have a certain smell, they have a certain way about them, and they honestly see through people of the light. They cannot connect. They're looking for someone who's like, oh, pick me, or some meek little person that they like, fresh meat, they're not looking for that one that's like looking for them.
The next meat suit.
And just like in Hollywood or any other aspect of life, you might not know that these things are controlling you or leading you this way. You might think you're just living an everyday thing, but everybody else around you might see, man, don't go down that path. That path you're going down, you might be oblivious to it, not knowing that something's leading you down there.
I have always had like angels, guides, my higher self, whatever you want to call it, that kind of protection with the voice, because I was given one of those invitations before, the eyes wide shut little parties and things, and making the rounds. And it was like literally dressed almost on my way. And then just everything in me was like, I'm not going. And then watching my friend go by themselves, and then they're never the same again. And I know that there's these moments where, or not getting a particular job, or when I started to go from in front of the camera to behind the camera, I felt way more in control. But there are also certain jobs where I felt like I'm not supposed to be connecting right here. They're not.
Mhm.
I literally can feel the protection in place, whether it's even just something on my shoulder, like no, or the way things align. And I don't, something in the moment, I'm like, damn it, I wish I had that. And then you see what happens to the experience, and you're like, I wasn't supposed to be there. It gets really like, whoa, I got to trust my team's in place. I just got to show them I'm a badass too. And I got it. I got it. In the 3D, they can just help me everywhere else. So as far as that real question of seeing the dark ones, seeing them all the live long day if I'm looking for them, but I'm
Right.
trying not to look for them anymore, because then you're calling in, like you said, the other one's like,
Right.
oh, she's opening. Here we come. We're going to
Yeah,
crawl
I
in
mean,
there.
what better place for them to hide out than the City of Angels, right?
Right?
mean-
Right? There's as much as there's so much dark here, there's so much light too.
That's right.
And even I kind of get down on some of the peeps that are like, they're all complicit. You have to get to that certain level by doing this one thing. I go, I don't know about that. I've been with international superstars. I've had Thanksgiving at their house. Like, I've met some, and even they put up their boundaries. When certain people come over, everyone else has to leave because they don't want them infected. Like, I've watched this stuff, and I'm like, so I try to go toe to toe, and then I'm like, let the people have their bread and circus. Let them fight about it. I'm trying to tell them I have experience. I try to tell them I have a story. They don't want to hear it. Fight amongst yourselves. But there, as much as, there's the pocket of that craziness, and that controls everything, because that energy is a lot. But there are so many light warriors all out and about around
Well,
here.
there's an underbelly to almost every aspect of life.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah, not just Hollywood, education.
Yes.
You want to talk Ivy Leagues? Oh, well, that's
Mhm.
some dirty money right there. Like, I mean, we can get into any industry you talk about. There's going to be that stronghold, the dark versus light.
Yeah.
It's there.
It will always try to pull you into one way or another. You know what I mean? I mean, we were just
Yes.
talking about that earlier. Like, it's always there. Like, it's you just got to be aware, right? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
I love angel wings. You said that too, because dragons are championed at our school. Because again, there's good ones and there's bad ones. Depends how they're raised. But I'm actually reading. My reader for my class, we take time to read. Usually too, where I do a pretty picnic blanket, and I'll read while the children eat. Yes, I go there. But it's called Dragon Boy. And it's a boy who's been called by his mind's eye by this ancient dragon, and he's the only one that can hear him speak, and it's so cool. And I have like half the class, these are just like, they're so into it, and because it's like being the chosen one for this amazing beast, and
Sure.
some treat him as a beast, but he's meant to be the guardian. It's so
Mhm.
cool. Dragons rock.
Yeah.
I think we all have a dragon.
Well, I love that. I believe you said your mom or someone called what they call the Sasquatch when you said you saw it. And
Oh, the guardian, land
Yeah,
guardian.
right, and
Yep,
that's what
yep.
that's what I always say too. They're forest
Yeah.
guardians, like they're
Yeah.
forest stewards, like they're there to
right.
And the pixies too, like the all that too. I know there's naughty ones, and same with any multidimensional. You could probably get a darker version of it, a light version, like one of those stories I told the kids. Now, I don't know all the whole things about Jacob's ladder, and I mean, I've studied it now, but to tell them the story that this man started getting visions. One of our plays is like Joseph and the Dreamcoat, so we're doing the Amazing Dreamcoat, but we're doing the lessons behind it, how this man was psychic and could see and tell visions of dreams, and some believed him, some didn't. And so, but there was this, one character that is walking, and he meets three angels. And I'm like, yes, you can see us. It's daylight. And this is how I tell the stories. I'm not like, and then there was this shining star. I'm like, dude, it was so bright. Like, I'm just really enigmatic. So when I say, and then there was another one of those angel beings coming down, but this one, not so nice. Like, there's a good angel, bad angel. This was the naughty one. And he's like, oh yeah, you like this good stuff, come with me, and like taunting and stuff. Wait, where was the point to my whole story? I really forgot it. I guess that's how you tell it.
I got into it too. I was kind of just listening to your story.
I could go back. It's my
I don't
fault
remember.
because it's my fault because I skirted away from her.
You asked her about how you like the guardians being.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe that was
I
the
shouldn't have
guardians.
interrupted. I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. I do this a lot. That's my channel, is tangents, people. No, I guess the land guardian thing. I guess it was, yeah. Or just, well, even, and I have to tell you this with our classroom, they all have crystals buried under their desk. We've done little portal areas. Little boys always like, oh, it feels good here today, or it doesn't feel good here today. And we have to cleanse it and clear it and do these things, and calling in the animals and stuff. But I think that just them know, that maybe it was because it's an angel. So you're looking at something as an angel, but it could be a naughty one. That's what we're
Right.
saying. There's two
Yeah, we
types of
said
all
good
these.
and bad and everything.
Yeah, that's where it came from. There we go. See, whew.
But yeah,
I always
the
thought it with mermaids.
Sasquatch or Bigfoot, they're connected to the elementals because they're all about nature. Because we have wood sprites, we have water sprites. I mean, and the Bigfoot, I do believe, is here to manage and help Earth, Mother Nature. I mean, they're
protecting.
here. Some people say they're here to guard and help portals, protect, stop bad things from coming in, and keep you from going out somewhere you're not supposed to, and they help manage the ley lines. And a lot of places people have all these experiences, whether it's paranormal, UFO, or Sasquatch. There's quartz deposits and minerals that put off energy, and
Yeah.
All
of
it's
it.
just all connected.
Yes, absolutely. Angel, totally. I seen you around, Angel. I'm gonna bug you. I can just stalk you.
Well, speaking of stalking, everybody go over to Heidi's YouTube and stalk her and get those subs up for her and show her some love.
Thank you. I have opened my link tree as my name. I'll share that because I have a Telegram that I've been on for a year, but I never shared it with people because to me I'm so I don't know all these things, the gadgets in a way, and keeping up and passwords and this and that, and don't forget to stream. I'm like, mother scratcher. So I just put all my links on Telegram. So it's like a year and a half. There's 100+ links of either shows I was on or things I did or guests I had, and it's just like pow, just for like the year and a half though. So anything before that is usually me trying to vlog or trying to do tech.
Somebody came to me the other day and said in a comment, they just said, "Hey, do you remember that video? Like, I still consider it some of the best evidence ever. Like, I think they said the best evidence ever, whatever. But anyway, I want to show it to my father. Like, I want to show it to my dad. Like, da 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 da." And I was like, "Oh, damn!" Like, it's so weird. Like when somebody like just remembers something like a ways back and like requested, and I'm like, they're like, "Do you remember what that video was called?" And I'm like, I had to like sit there for a minute and think about it. But it's good to do things like that where like if you have things like, I wish I was more coordinated like over the years because I have so much stuff. It's just everywhere. Like it's everywhere, and it's just like it's a
little bit over here, a little bit.
Yeah, like
that's why even Telegram, I'm not even talking on there. I'm just like link. So it's like a library.
That's good. That's good.
Because sometimes I'll forget to put it up BitChute, or I'll forget to stream on Rumble or whatever. So I'm just like, at least this one's here, this one's here. And then my 2 Facebook accounts, I'm just like, I just do my best.
Plus, we might be able to find you in the background in a couple movies, huh?
Yup. My shirts and things. Yep. I did a little extra work. That was when I was young. And then I got older. I did do some soap operas older. And the Jiminy Glick, I got to go on that for a little bit. And he twirled me around, Martin Short. I was his.
You were an extra in a couple movies?
Extra. Yeah. It was a little girl. Yeah, it was like 14 in Groundhog Day. 13 or 14.
That's cool. Good movie.
And then I love being on set. Yeah, I was always drawn to it. So I did it. If it wasn't the first 15 years doing stuff in front of the camera somehow, then the next 15 years, I was behind the camera and I built a craft service business. So I was the snack lady basically. And I got to work with everyone I ever wanted to work with. It was really cool. I got from a few big hub peeps, some major thumbs up. And I really after a while, especially they started calling me Craftspiracy because I started talking about everything, and then I'd have this little kit of like homeopathic stuff, and I'd be like, "Oh, the chemtrail's getting you down. Let me clean you out," or whatever, and I'd have handouts about things. But
throwing your red pills out there.
Yes, but sometimes I get someone's writer, like someone famous or someone that has been known in the underworld of being like a dark person. I'm like, I see their allergies. I could do anything. So I'm like, I'm not that person. I
Right,
don't do
right.
anything.
Yeah.
But you get really up close and personal with people. And that's why I love sharing those experiences, because I see people go off on theories or opinions. I'm like, do you want to talk to somebody who actually had a conversation with them? And I can tell you what happened to me when I did. I'm like, no, we don't want to know the truth.
Yeah,
Or whatever the truth looks like. But it was such a trip. Yeah, I love the on-set stuff, and I love the fascination. I mean, the making of films. This is my other little flag I tote for Hollywood is, sure, you see the actors, they're the puppets, you see the one thing, and then the puppet masters, which are really in control. But it's the countless other people that make content. To make like a 15-second commercial, it could be like 100+ people making it, and
Right.
most of them are just your average Joe Schmo, trying to make good money with their skills and with their hands. So when I went around and started talking about ETs, I've had gaffers and even a director write me and be like, I bet you're happy your ETs are in the news. And I'm like, I go, well, their manufactured narrative is working. It woke you up. So
Yeah.
that's all. But they're pretty funny. Yeah, it comes around.
Yeah. It's fun. It's funny how like UFOs were in Congress, right? And like really nothing's changed, like
Yep. I'm like,
nothing's really changed,
nothing's changed.
Wild. It's wild.
It's pretty crazy. Yep. Or even well, I don't get in all that. We don't need to get any strikes, but even the 2020, that situation, going into it, I'm like, just trust. Your body will know what to do. Everything will be okay. We'll be fine. It'll get through. Just don't let them get to this. It's a war on consciousness more than anything. So yeah. But I didn't go back because of that. When I walked away in 2020, and then I started.
It's our own personal trinity, our mind, body, and soul. We got to protect it on all three levels. You got to make sure that nothing infiltrates, whether it's into your heart, whether it's into your mind, or whether it goes deeper into the spiritual.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And all of those of which
get those filters working on your behalf.
Yeah.
Get that discernment going.
And I have yet to talk to or meet anybody that can do it 24/7, every 365. If they're like in a shaman in the woods and that's all they're doing, perhaps they're floating and doing some things, but you still have to meet, go get gas or go get some groceries. You still have to meet people and interact. How are you doing that? Are you being a good person, or are you a dick? Or are you like, why don't you know about these things? Wake up, sheep. Like, how do you do it? It's like you have to just kind of like, it's all good. It's okay. We're fine. Just, I don't know. Oh, good night.
I'll call you after. We're getting ready to wrap up anyway.
Okay.
All right, my friends. Well, I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for this opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah,
thanks, Carol.
absolutely.
And thanks, Carol. Yeah.
Anytime. Thank you, mods. Appreciate you guys dropping links and everything like that. Everyone who came through on your side too. I believe there was people on your channel too.
Nice. Thanks, guys.
Carol, thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
Yep, my pleasure.
I don't think I got to say this.
Heidi is just such a lovely person and bubbly and kind, and I'll show up on any show she's on if she wants me to.
He's like my agent.
I know. He's good at it too. We got to talk about that hat real quick because that thing is just too badass. I didn't say anything yet. I don't know how I keep letting it slide, but that thing is sick.
I love it.
I'm officially putting out my energy to take it from you. So I'm gonna reel you into
this is my special hat. You will never achieve. You will never achieve it. This hat is never going away from me.
Just tell me where you got it from.
Well, Temu. There you go.
No way.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
It's actually cloth and it's well made and it's got leather on it. And
you're a liar. No way it came from Temu.
Yes, it did.
Wow.
I might sign up for Temu just for. I don't think I could pull it off though. You
could. That looks great.
just grow the beard out. It'll come natural to you.
I
awesome.
can't grow a
hear it.
beard. I can't grow a beard. I get like a little bit of hair on my chin. That's about it.
Oh my gosh.
You can be one of them little groovy dudes with this a little goatee and a little mustache. You know, you can be a hipster.
No. It doesn't work.
Oh,
It's
well.
your look, Carol. You got it. You even have the with the matching outfit, and you're just like pow.
Got it going
Yeah.
on today.
Yes.
Talon 90.
Tomorrow will be another story.
All right, my friends. Well, anything to add? I'm really bad at wrapping up shows.
It's okay. I'm just very grateful. Thank you
All
to
right,
the
cool.
chat and Carol and both you, Mike. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well,
Yeah.
everyone, good night. Thank you for being here. And
Thank
Yep.
you.
see you guys
Love
on the
and
next
peace
one.
to everybody. Keep looking up and like, share, and subscribe and get this one out there. Help Heidi out, please.
Yes,
Thank
that's
you.
the key.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Humble. Thanks.
Rumble, yeah.
I'm humble. Humble. I'm humble.
Humble.
I'm humbly
Rumble and the
thanking
Oh,
you.
humble. I thought we were plugging Rumble. Okay. All right.
No, because I messed that up too. There's all these random I don't know what I did, but I'm over there.
All right. Yes,
Thank you,
that's a
guys.
that's a good finishing note right there. Thank you, Chief.
Perfect.
Jane, thank you.
Thanks.
All right.